Each news time, information is power. Be current. The news headline. One thing President Muhammadu Buhari should not do again that will completely stop insurgency. The news in full. Insurgency in the world is a great threat to people's life and people's well-being, people's property, a country's economy, just to mention but a few. Insurgency in Nigeria have destroyed lives, properties, have forced people to renounce their religion from Christianity to Islam, because when one is captured, what follows is insurgent telling you to renounce your religion or face greater consequence. Insurgency have been given a very large space in the country, and now have given Nigeria a bad name in regard. Globally, aside this, it has discouraged, and it is still discouraging some investors from investing in the country Nigeria. So many times, our armed forces have come to tell us that they have destroyed the two insurgent factions in Nigeria, and only the matter of few days before the insurgents will strike again. There can't be a stop to insurgency in this country called Nigeria, except government put a stop to their demands. When insurgents captures large number of people, students or famous people in Nigeria, in a bid for the federal government to stop criticisms from media and from citizens, they negotiate with terrorists to release their victims. When they contact terrorists for negotiation, they make their own demands. Either they tell federal government to release their sect members who are in detention, or should ask for a huge amount of money. It is part of the money they demand from federal government they use in financing their own operations, although they might be getting money from other sources, but the federal government decides not to submit to their will again, they will be frustrated. They will carry out more deadly attacks in short time, but as long as the federal government do not negotiate with them, Nigeria won't be conducive for them anymore, which will drastically reduce the power they derive from negotiating from the government. When they capture pupils, especially female pupils, out of people's cry on media and other means, the federal government succumbs to their demands, of which have made terrorists grow more power in Nigeria. My perfect case study is the United States of America. Whenever terrorists threaten to strike on their soil or hold US citizens hostage, no matter who they hold hostage, they don't negotiate with terrorists. The effect of government negotiating with terrorists is, after the negotiations, they will strike again and expecting another negotiation. So, as long as the Nigerian government is still negotiating with terrorists, will continue to strike in hope for another negotiation that will suit them. However, it is best for the federal government of Nigeria to look for a better way to address the insecurity situation in Nigeria and to end insurgency as early as possible, so that the powers of these terrorists can actually be subsidized to the barest minimum. To our leaders, we are tired of the worsening state of insecurity in the country. Every now and then, lives are lost, people are being unjustly killed like animals, and we demand the return of peace in our society. We are saying enough is enough, no more bloodshed. Out of school children figure is witnessing a massive rise of orphans everywhere. We can't travel in peace. The economy is crumbling. People are burnt while traveling. The protesters marched from Audu Bako Secretariat to the Kano government house, where security operatives received the group of protesters, listened to them, and promised to take the matter further to the appropriate quarters. Meanwhile, following the recent spike in terror attacks in Sokoto and Katsina states, President Muhammadu Buhari has dispatched a high-level delegation made up of heads of national intelligence and security services to the two states. According to a statement by the President's Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, on Friday, Buhari expects the delegation to present an immediate situation report and recommendations on actions to follow to effectively deal with the worrying situation. And also, the Defunct Social Democratic Party, SDP, Professor Yowuse Aga has urged separatist agitators to go about the agitations in a civilized manner to avoid bloodshed. In an interview with Vincent Kalu, the Professor Agia, a former senator who has served twice as minister and twice as ambassador, said that the three zones that have produced presidents should wait for the other three zones to have president. After that, he noted that the president should be chosen purely through popular contest, devoid of zoning.
Many Nigerians have tried to go back in history to situate Nigerians' problems in the amalgamation of 1914. They say that Nigerians' amalgamation into one country should never be taking place because of our differences. These groups insist that the amalgamation's expiration date is over and is now the time for the dissolution of the Federation. But I say these people are wrong. There is no manual for the formation of nations. Wars, accidents, imperialism, necessity, agreement, arbitrations, and consensus have all given birth to countries. Our nation was born from imperialism and it became a British colony after the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. But we shook off the shackles of colonialism and emerged as an independent nation. The whole world still understanding that Nigeria would be a great nation and would wipe away the tears of all black people of the world by building a great democracy and a republic where justice and honor, peace and progress will be showcased. The reasons for the failure to attain greatness are that we have poor leaders and poor followers who have not been able to make nation building their number one priority. Our leaders have continued to wallow in ethnic racism and corruption. Ironically, it was based on Pan-African unity and nationalism, and our founding fathers got independence. But soon after independence, we have systematically destroyed every fabric of nation building through corruption and ethnic racism. The last 6 years have been the very worst in throwing up Nigeria's fault lines. The parties have failed to give leadership and they lack ideological commitment, purpose, or clarity. The weak institutions of states have been unable to defend democracy, and the Nigerian people have yet not resolved on national greatness. When we decide, nobody can stop us, the professor says. The professor also noted that the Nigerian elite must come together and overcome their apathy and decide to make Nigeria great through comprehensive restructuring of the federation, saying that we need more efficient and leaner federal civil and public service, and that we need the state to be stronger and the federal government to divest itself of its overwhelming control at the center, saying that we must resolve to tackle tribalism with greater intensity that we have fought corruption, saying that the last thing we need to do in addressing our nation's calamity is to recruit into politics and public sphere people with sound character who see wrong as wrong and who are courageous to stand up to forces that seek to destroy Nigeria. Asking about insecurity, saying that we started with Boko Haram and now ISWAP, saying that the United Arab Emirates recently named some Nigerians sponsoring the insurgent group, saying that Nigerians were excited, thinking that those who have contributed to the plunging this country into the crisis that has got millions of dollars and the carnage that followed will be prosecuted. However, the presidency said charging them is not a priority, and the professor was asked about his view on this particular statement, responding that the view is that the government has been living in denial and that Nigeria is first starting from a civil war that religious extremists and ethnic bigotry are foisted over us. The government has invented semantics of deception, which is helping terrorists by packaging them as bandits and even worse, non-state actors. I was walking on eggshells to call the foreign Fulani terrorists arsonists, rapists and land grabbers through genocide as non-state actors.